Vamos a bluff, bluff, bluff.
Alright, it is day 3 of the Mystery Bounty. We have got 25 big blinds. We are a little bit below average, but there is 350,000 euro up top. Plus, there's still a few chunky bounties. Like, there's a 25k, there's 3 10ks. It could really go any way. The buzz in this room is quite cool. The main event, day 5 is kicking off today. There's like 40 players left over there. I have never had a run in live poker like this since I got signed by PokerStars, so it doesn't feel real that we could win this much money. But if I just outlast 19 people, we win over €250,000 for 3 days work. Absolutely insane. Come on, let's get after it. Let's fucking run well. I don't want to play well, I want to run well.
Day 3 starts off with an absolutely monster pot. I have barely had time to sit down, and there's an all-in for 12 big blinds that I cannot fold with ace-jack suited. We are playing 5-handed, and the player in question was extremely aggressive the night before. He has 10s. I need the help. He needs to avoid it. 8, 6, 5, 2 diamonds. Shocking flop. A brutal 2 of diamonds on the turn. But the river is the prettiest card in the deck. The ace of spades. We get an early double up, and straight away, we are going to be one of the stacks that are in the mix.
What a fucking start to the day, man. All in for the vast majority of my chips with ace-jack suited against 10s, and we just drill the Barry Greenstein on the river. Beautiful stuff. There's 12 players left now. I've got 20 big blinds going back. Average is like 27 big blinds, so a little bit below average, but it's a poker tournament. Anything could happen. Could easily go our way. It's like 350k for first. What a fucking buzz.
With about 12 players left, I started opening up. I got a bunch of rejams through. Alexander was opening wide. Kelvin was opening wide. I was jamming blind versus blind. I even showed everybody ace-ace to show them that I was on a little bit of a heater. But this hand with pocket trees is where the momentum really turns in my favor. I raised in the cutoff. You could argue to fold, and the flop comes out 8-5 deuce. Small blind and big blind have called. I bet, small blind gets out of the way, and Alexander calls. The turn is the 9 of diamonds, and this is a card where in general I'm going to have to be somewhat cautious with my entire range. We've got 12 players left. It completes a lot of straights, it completes a lot of flushes, so I can check here with pocket trees and some bad intentions. The river is the queen of spades. I feel like I've got a bluff. Sure, sometimes I beat a deuce, but for the most part, Alexander's going to have an 8 or a 5 a lot. Even with a 9, he is not going to enjoy facing a chunky bet here. I decide to go for 70% of the pot, and after some deliberation, Alexander decides to fold, and we pick up a beautiful little pot. What starts with a cheeky smile and a defend of Queen 7 of Hearts is going to quickly become one of the biggest pots of my poker career. The Brazilian player that we've been battling with continues on a flop of 10-10-8 with 2 hearts. I decide that I'm going to check raise here. He went for a little bit bigger than normal size and bet almost 2 big blinds, and I just don't think people are going to do that with a 10. I check raise very small, and he calls pretty quickly. The turn is the 9 of diamonds. This card has got to be pretty good for me. I'm going to make a lot of straights on this turn. I'm not going to have as many natural bluffs, so I don't have much to choose from, and I decide that I'm going to continue with my Queen 7 of Hearts. I have a lot of outs, right? We have a straight draw. We have a flush draw. Our queen could be good. We put a little bit of pressure on, but unfortunately, we do not get the fold, and we see the safest card in the world, the least scary card you'll see, the deuce of spades. I'm not really sure if I meant to bluff with hearts here, but I decided I'm not going to have a lot to choose from, and having the 7 and the queen blocking 2 ends of the straight, I decided if I'm going to bluff with a missed flush draw, this is the one I'm going to go with. My opponent tanks. And tanks. He tanks for the longest time I've seen in this tournament and eventually makes the fold. And I windmill the Queen 7 of Hearts down the table, being egged on by Julian on the rail. What a rush. What a moment. What a bluff. Vamos! With 10 players left, I get put in one of the worst possible spots. The Icelandic player on my right shoves for 11 big blinds under the gun. We are playing 5-handed. I decide that I am going to call here with ace queen of clubs. It gives me the potential to get away if there's a massive reshove behind. It falls around to Kelvin in the big blind, and he snap shoves. Disaster. It is 25 big blinds total, which means we're getting a monster price with ace queen of clubs. I'm clearly absolutely disgusted. I know I'm getting the right price if you don't take in the ICM considerations, but it's 2 million more chips for me to call. That is about an average stack on this final table. Look at the Icelandic guy. He's so calm. He's relaxed. He clearly has a big hand. Kelvin shoves so quickly, it is very often going to be ace king. I hate life. I don't know what to do. I reluctantly fold, and I get shown the ace king from Kelvin and the pocket jacks from the guy on my right. I am sweating this flop so hard. Just let me be results orientated. Do not put a queen up there. 7-7-3 is safe. The 5 on the turn is safe. Whew. We could breathe happily. I would have been sick if we won that pot.
Alright, we are on the final table. We just all folded 11 big blinds, 12 big blinds of ace queen suited, and then had to fold to the, I think it was 23 big blinds shove, so big swing, but we got average stack on the FT, so let's just run well.
Seat 3, Jacob. Okay, Maria. Seat 4, Vincent. Queen, king. Queen, king. Spade. 10, king, queen.
He doesn't jam, I jam, I win.
With 7 players remaining, we are sitting in 5th or 6th place, and it falls to Jake in a small blind. He's going to be playing 100% of hands here, whether it's for a raise or an all-in to put the pressure on, and he does shove. We quickly look at our cards. We have ace queen. It is far too strong to fold in this situation. He turns over 9 deuce off. Don't let me lose like this. The flop comes down with a deuce and we are behind. We are going to need some help. The turn is a 9, giving me a flush draw, but Jake 2 pair, and the river is a diamond. Team Pro! I can't help myself. I shout Team Pro. I get the little fist bump off Maria. We are back in the game and probably pushing up to the second biggest stack now. Immediately after winning that big pot against Jake, I raised kings and Kelvin ripped it on me with 6s. I thought it was a little bit wide. I was second in chips. He was about third. It seems a little bit gangster, but that's the way the Brazilians play. A flop of ace 10-4 is safe for me. The 7 of diamonds is safe, and the jack of diamonds is huge. We are now in a commanding second place, and we get rid of one of the greatest online poker players of all time. Vamos, let's go. The action falls around to Jake. He continues to raise or shove 100% of hands like he should. After winning with the ace queen against his 9 deuce, I've got a few more chips. I have ace jack suited and decide to defend. I'm much better off keeping in his weak range rather than shoving here and never getting called by a worse hand. We see a flop of king queen 4. Jake is going to be playing about 80% of hands here. He needs to be aware of how strong my range is, and he decides to check. We go for a small bet. Jake has flopped a pair here with jack 4 off and decides to call. The turn is the ace of diamonds, a great card for me, but I'm not in a position where I get the bet 3 straights with this hand, so I think if I check, I could induce some naughtiness from Jake. Not one to disappoint and one to put the aggression on. Jake finds a really nice bluff with jack 4 off, but unfortunately for him, I've got a very strong hand with ace jack, and for the first time, we are starting to close the gap. My second chip stack is finally catching up with Jake's, and we have a huge amount of momentum. This battle, blind versus Jake, is the pot that separates the best players in the world. I've bet the flop in a limp pot and turned a straight on queen 8-6-7, but it also completed a flush draw. After I bet, Jake puts in a terrifying turn check raise. Yes, I have a straight. Yes, I blocked a flush, but I could just fold here and never tell a soul. You have to be so gangster to bluff here. I call and Jake follows through with a monstrous 4.5 million chip bet. He needs to have the ace of clubs or king of clubs at minimum to be bluffing. They can so easily just call the turn though. I look at Jake, I look at my cards, and I reluctantly call and get shown a king high flush. A devastating blow. I just wasn't good enough to fold.
5 years ago, the future UK poker, he didn't win anything for years to come.
Go dig it out. It was 3 years ago. Sammy, I'm on tilt after a bad call. Don't kill me.
I have no time to lick my wounds and feel sorry for myself. The shortest stack remaining with 4 players left shoves the button, and I wake up with pocket 9s in the big blind. We make the call. He's got king queen. We see a flop of ace 8-5. Please hold. Give me some momentum back. Another ace on the turn. We are safe. and the river is a 5 of hearts. We win a crucial pot to go three-handed. I shake his hand and we look to gather our composure as we go for the win. Not too long later and we see the first all-in of the three-handed tournament. It is pocket sevens for Jake versus ace 4 for the Brazilian. I have never wanted pocket sevens to hold so much in my life. This will lock us up over 200k, and the bloody window card is an ace. This is terrible news. We need a 7 and a 7 only. The turn is safe and the river is safe. It is shocking news for me. I go about even stacks with the Brazilian. Jake loses a few chips and we do not get the ladders. With the short stack doubling up, we have no choice but to actually play a little bit of poker here. I raise with Jack 10 suited on the button and the small blind gets out of the way. Jake takes a few moments and I think we're about to get shoved on, and I'm so sad because Jack 10 suited cannot call, but it's such a pretty hand. We do see a call. The flop comes down ace queen 7. I have Jack 10 of diamonds and flop the backdoor flush draw. I decide, given how tight my opening range will still be here, I am going to continue, and we're going to continue on the larger side. We bet about half pot. Jake somewhat reluctantly folds and we finally win a pot three-handed. Could this be a turning point? A little bit of momentum coming in my favor. Every pot right now is crucial and worth so much money, but this one is huge. I defend 10-8 versus the Brazilian's button open. He's got around 15 big blinds. We see a flop of 10-9-6. Not bad. It goes check, check. The turn is a king. Not ideal, but facing a bet, it is far too early to fold. Offsuit 2 on the river. I check and we quickly face an all-in. This guy has took so long for every decision. Would he really shove one pair so quickly? I don't think so. He shouldn't have king 6, king 7 off, and I'm quite sure he'd shove king queen, king jack pre. What are his traps? Only really pocket 10s. This is my longest tank ever in live poker. Maybe he wants to get me back for the bluff. I call. He's got king 6. Oh, fuck! I've got 2 of the biggest calls of my career wrong. I glance over at the Brazilian stacking my chips. I'm heartbroken, but I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. Disgusted, I look down and what do I see? I've got aces. I cannot believe it. I've got aces. I've got the rockets, but my head is on space. I count out my chips. Can I limp here? Or do I just need to go all in? He hasn't even stacked my chips yet. Look at them. I'm all in. I haven't got enough chips to set any traps here. We've got about 6 big blinds. He asks for a count. Mate, you've just taken all my chips. Give me the spin. Let me get right back in the game with the aces. It looks like it's going to be really close. Don't forget, it's a bounty tournament. There's no big bounties left, but it does add a little bit extra to the pot. It might be 1.5 big blinds or so, but it's surely enough to give me the spin. Do not fold when I have got aces. Do not fold. I can't handle this. Do not slow roll me like this. Stop touching your chips and put them in the middle. I'm not usually a tilter at poker, but I'm about to flip this table. Put the chips in. What are you thinking about? No, I can't. We're on break. And I'm honestly, I've never been so tilted in my life. With a pathetic looking stack, morale in the gutter, Jake raises the button and I go all in for about 5 big blinds with king queen. He even has a pair. I need to find a double up or the dream is over. It's not looking good. The flop comes out king high. Are you telling me there's a chance? Is this the beginning of the greatest comeback story we have ever seen? We make 2 pair on the river. We double up to not quite 10 big blinds, but almost. Game on. With my newfound wealth, the next time I'm in the small blind, it's folded to me with queen 6 off. Do I want to shove this hand? No. But the big blind ante is monstrous. I've got about 8 big blinds. I feel like the Brazilian's probably going to call a little bit too tight. He does call though, and we get the bad news. My queen 6 is dominated by his ace 6. I need to find a queen or the dream is over. King, jack, 8 flop. Nothing going for me. The board pairs on the turn. I need a queen and a queen only or the dream is over. The 4 of clubs on the river and we are out in 3rd place for a total of 170,000 euro, including the bounties. It is the biggest live score of my career, but I am heartbroken to have got the big calls wrong. I think I learned a lot. I don't think I'll make the same mistakes next time. I'll see you all in Cyprus. We are going for a title and we are going for even more cash monies.
What a bloody stupid game. We just had our biggest score in years, our biggest ever live score, and I'm disappointed because I got the 2 big calls wrong. If I ever learn how to fold, everyone's in trouble. But I can't. Nobody bluffs. And I pay him off every time. Brutal, but let's go get our last 2K.